I tell you, folks, I need a big dummy to take my place. I need a stand-in. I keep not having the greatest production value possible for a professional, which is what I was and can attempt to be. What is the problem here? Let me check this headspace. I should put the clock where my head might be. Let's see here. All right, Mickey. There's your head. There's my head. Stay there, Mick. Oh, he's gonna fall. Shit. Let's see. Let's see if that's gonna work, folks. Alright, I'll just call it. That's a good place for a head. I got this. It's pretty funny. You can't hardly read it. Opening of the show. Time is ticking, folks. Time is ticking. I should be writing this down, but I got up and I wrote my notes. I want a new big, great enlarger and make some big photographic prints for the show coming up September 2nd at Alexander Heath Art Gallery in Roanoke, Virginia. It'll be a major Transcendia show stretching back to the earliest days, postcard, mail stamps, franking that shows the progression of transcendental thought. Good king is good thing, tried and true, and nothing new. I decided it was not right for me to be a king. I had to be a founder, to be a legitimate, intellectually correct governmental entity, founder, greater than king. 3 ways to become a king: usurpation, inheritance, vision. I had a vision. The vision is a touchstone. A dream is like something you might want, but a vision sits in your head and you touch your ideas to it and see if they work. See if they work. Touch the vision. Do not misunderstand what a vision does, other than give you strength to know that you have a spiritual life in this life. So work is a spiritual struggle for the material necessities. Work was hunting, then it was farming, then it was hunting and farming. Hunting, farming, farming, hunting. America and Andy Warhol, reinvention of each other. Every artist now, or every artist, I don't know. I'm getting into the weeds here. Anyway, I've been influenced by Chris Hedges and his ideas that, to name his thing Days of Revolt and go and call for revolt. Well, okay. I'm for revolution. I gotta finish the book again. It's only a manuscript, really. It was just a manuscript that had been rewritten about 4 times before it was published on the ebook. Anarchy leading to isolation and despair is my character's discovery, my discovery in writing it. Only two precepts of anarchy that I hold inviolate is that there are responsibilities of the government that are inviolate, and only duties are being defense and education. These are publicly funded because they benefit the public. They should never be for profit. Education. Who wants to have a country of stupid, ignorant people, really? I don't want them in my country. I want educated people, and if I can't get them to join and follow me, then I'll have to educate them so that they are worth having around as company. You want your country to be made of people who are good company. How's that? I don't like everybody. I don't like being afraid. There have been a lot of places I go, I'd be afraid. Last time I went to Chicago, I made sure I had my pistol. I needed it to defend myself against somebody with a knife. How's that? I was not supposed to have that pistol. That was a .38. I rode the bus so I wouldn't get searched. I don't know, do they search people on buses now? So I made these notes when I got up because if you're going to have revolt, if you're going to have revolution, if you're going to protect the country at the same time, you need to make some lists. Made these notes. Shall be limited by accounts. The commons shall not be made free. Co-ops shall have greater protections than corporations. The role of government is to make the nation territory, the national territory, safe for those providing necessary goods and services. Food, clothing, and shelter shall be private. Private enterprise shall provide food, clothing, and shelter, but shall be regulated. Rentiers, those that do not add real value, shall be limited in their actions. But we'll go ahead and just say that the corporation charter shall be re-examined, and corporate inversions shall be made illegal. You're either a real ally or a real enemy. You can be, quibbly about it, but there's a reality to what situation you have put yourself in as an identified part of the orbit of the nation and how it must be defended from you, maybe. You cannot take too much from us. I believe I've read all the economics I can read, and I'll read and read and read to compete as an economics thinker. I'm a creative economist. I invented the Intendor, which changes the paradigm as far as what is valued. The basis of the currency matters, okay? Gold worked. Egypt had lots of it. We know about gold. We know about how to base the money. It can be the same thing. The Treasury, who has control of the Treasury? There are public and government responsibilities. Defense shall never be for profit. In other words, we're not going to work out too well. For Transcendia, it becomes simple. Everybody on the airport that is a member of Transcendia shall be trained in the use of arms and shall carry one, appropriate to whatever position and ability they have to do so. But for the airport territory fenced, it's an economic model sitting there. The CIA and FBI, or CIA, MI5, MI6, basically preceded Transcendia. I hadn't thought about it fully, where all my inspirations came from. Mostly I thought it was Rochdale College, where I was security. And I was editor of Ghetto News. Thanks, Ian Argue, for keeping whatever copies of that ever existed. I've lost all. Yeah, as I only have one collection of the Transcendo Ray predecessors for Transcendia and Transcendia.org and all that. Transcendia Pop Wars, Transcendia War Commentary. You can find some of that stuff in Internet Archives. In order to secure, well, in order, what I have here is in order, secure command and control of all armed forces, determine borders, contiguous, and as far-flung, do honest inventory of equipment and trained personnel. The first thing to do if you're going to have a revolt in the United States, have the revolt that is necessary because of the co-option of our government. The U.S. government has been taken over. It was taken over effectively during the coup when Richard Helms and James Angleton murdered for the Joint Chiefs of Staff John F. Kennedy. From then on, the military knew they'd gotten away with it and they were unaccountable. We haven't had control of our military since. The government is for. What is a government for? Defense and education. There's police. I don't really think the police ought to be better armed than any individual who, is a citizen. Folkways cannot be legislated. Vices exist, human vices, They can deal with it. People need to be taught what is ethical and moral. Well, I really avoid morality because a lot of times morality is unethical. Ethics is never immoral. That's one way to test it. And women's rights are women's rights. When you talk about the right to an abortion, okay, it's their right. If it's murder, I don't really care. It's inside them. They shall not be forced to grow something they don't want to grow inside them. I'm sorry. You make any other kind of case about it, I don't care. That's me. Women need to support their own rights, and if I have to support them for them, it gets too much. Civil and military force control, DOD, DOJ, banks, corporate charters. Okay, I said the inversions need to be made illegal. You either got a charter in the United States to have a corporation that gets advantages from being a member of the United States. Well, if you're working against the good of the people, we're going to revoke your charter. And a corporate inversion shows that you don't really care. The inventory is important now because if you're going to have a revolt, do things in order, you need to make a list of the existing military powers. Whose side are these generals on? Some may not be aware that they were co-opted during the revolt. During the coup. It's been a while. A lot of things have been obscured. Do the soldiers know exactly who benefits from their killings? If it's not protecting the good of the national territory and borders and the people and the citizens of the United States, why have it done? All right. Civilian authorities and military authorities. This is where I started. I read all these notes backwards. But this is where I started. So you have to take the list, make a list. You can have a revolt. Who are the civilian authorities you can depend on to support your revolt? Do they see the perversion of the government? And if they don't, how can they be fired? Military generals who are getting contracts to self-aggrandize themselves later as weapons salesmen may not be very good generals to have running your foreign policy. Is Israel a state or not? It's like we gave Alabama or Mississippi some nuclear weapons. And what do you think they're going to do is control the Mississippi? At any rate, that is a difficulty, and I've got a unique way of looking at that, because it's as if a Transcendian airport refused to pack up and leave when the lease was done, or it had become unviable as a Transcendian port. Transcendia picks up, Transcendia is actually a reaction to the cultural lag that John Commons talks about. Airports provide a unique ability for the world people to overcome economic disparities that come about from isolated resource and service invention or value-added trade. Poor people need to move to the airport and disadvantaged. Okay, go where the most advantaged. If you're disadvantaged, go where the most advantaged people are. Alright. So I said that now for me, I don't think fiat money in the United States is dead because of the Meyer-Lansky financial engineering. We need more financial engineers for the United States than economists. Theory and reality are two different things. The financial engineer will take the reality as it is presented and figure out a way to make money using it. Financial engineering. Financial engineers on Wall Street are trying to put money in their bank accounts and bank accounts of people they work for. Financial engineers are really not very well respected in the government of the United States. The financial engineers of Wall Street are running rings around. So let's de-emphasize theoretical economics and make greater use of financial engineering as Henry Petrosky would see it. I don't think he had any intention to put financial engineers such as the Meyer-Lansky financial engineers of Wall Street in charge of our fortunes. Nancy Alice be home soon. There's Russell Scott Day. I wish you'd buy my books off Amazon. Some of them are ugly, but they work. They're not ugly. They look like they looked when I made them. Love you.